Hey, everybody. We have finally come to the point on our architectural software journey where we're going to begin discussing the architectural floor plan, which is quite possibly the most important architectural drawing on planet Earth, in the universe. Let's do full screen mode. So, the purpose of this lecture is to introduce you to the architectural floor plan, what the rules are, what it is we're trying to convey, and some techniques. And then I'm going to show you some other diagrams and models to really illustrate the point of the floor plan and what it does. And then I'll show you a lot of examples that I think are really nice examples that show proper line weights. Line weights is the biggest takeaway here. Line weights and composition. So let's get started just sort of with some ground rules. So from a 30,000 foot kind of view, like what the heck is a floor plan? It's a scaled diagram of a room or a building viewed from above. Okay. It depicts spatial relationships within one level of a specific structure or area. So it's showing either one room, the contents of the room, the spatial layout of a room, or it's showing multiple rooms together, and showing how they kind of connect with each other. It also can show spatial relationships within a room. For example, I am currently in my office. This area is sort of that I'm in right now. I know you can't see it, but this area is sort of for my desk work. That area is for lounging on the couch, for example, or where the dog sleeps, as you know. So a floor plan can tell us all that information. So here's some specifics. It's drawn from above. The orientation of the view is downward. Now, the cut of a floor plan is typically drawn at a particular vertical position, which is 4 foot above the floor. So imagine you have a house and you're slicing that house horizontally at 4 feet high. Then you're tipping that house down and looking down in the house. So that's a good way to describe it. And I have a diagram here that will help you with visualize that. Okay, so here's a very simple structure, right? House has got one, two, I don't even call this a house, call it a playhouse. A door, 2 windows, and 3 windows on the back. Very simple structure, gable roof. Okay, so let's go to scene 2 here. That is the cut at 4 feet from the floor. So let me go back to level 1. So when we're talking about a floor plan, we're making a slice through the room, a slice through the whole structure, whatever the case may be, at 4 feet. And then we are looking down upon it. Now, in this case, we're looking down, but there's still perspective in the view. So I can see, say, this corner going down. Like it looks like this floor here is smaller than the opening where it's cut here, which isn't the case in reality. That's just because our eyes are always seeing in perspective. So floor plans are typically drawn in orthographic projection, which is like this. I'm just going to press scene 4 here. Completely flat. It's as if our eye doesn't see in perspective. Now, it does this for good reason. The only way that we can really measure from this and use it in construction is if it's not in perspective. So we don't want to show any perspective in our floor plans. We just want to show the cut slice through everything and whatever is in the drawing per se, say furniture or whatever the case may be. Let me go back to my list here. So typically drawn at a particular vertical position. So I should add there, the cut is typically drawn at 4 feet above the floor and drawn with no perspective. So that's what I was talking about. When there's no perspective, it's typically called an orthographic projection. Okay, so we're looking at the flat projection of the view downward, flat. Typically drawn to a specific scale. So in AutoCAD, we're actually going to draw things at its real life scale, but then when we print it, we can scale it to whatever we want. Objects below the cut level, so below the 4-foot line, are seen. So if there's furniture in there, desks, computers, bed, things like that. Now, some of those objects are above 4 feet, but for furniture and things like that, we typically don't show those cut. We typically only show the really spatially defining elements cut. So that'll be like a wall, a door, a window, things like that. So objects below the cut level are seen. Objects at 4 feet are typically shown cut. Now I say typically. So I should say here, let's say spatial objects are typically cut at 4 feet. So objects that affect the whole space. Objects above 4 feet, so something can say that happens on the ceiling, or perhaps there's a flat screen TV on a wall or something like that, that are above 4 feet are either omitted entirely or they're shown in as dashed. And dashed lines say, hey, there's something here above, above the eye in this case, above 4 feet. In addition, floor plans typically include measurements, exterior, interior, walls, windows, doors, furniture, appliances, anything that is necessary to what it is you're trying to convey. And I'll show you a great example in a minute. Now, as I said before, the primary takeaway is line weights. If there's anything I can drill into your mind this semester, besides a love for technology, it's line weights. Line weights are the primary method or tool to clearly show what is cut or what is solid, what is void. So what is cut, what is not cut, that's what we use line weights for. So if something is cut, it has the darkest line weight, the thickest line weight, and then everything else gets lighter from that. And it's best to show you an example. Okay, so here is a floor plan of a house that I lived in maybe about, oh my God, this was like 2013 at the earliest. So this was a while ago, almost seven years ago now. So this is my wife and I's first, I guess you could say duplex together. This was our front door here. We also had a side door over here. And this was the way to get upstairs to the unit above. So Anita lived upstairs, really nice lady. So here's the big moves. Okay, so if you squint your eyes right now and look at this floor plan, you can clearly tell with the line weights what is cut and what is not cut. So, for example, all these walls here, this exterior wall, that's all got that dark line weight around it. We have windows in there here, all along here, and we have doors. So in this case, I have a screen door and then the big kind of wood door. That's the type of doors that we had. Cut through there. That's the type of doors that we had and all those on the exterior. And then let's just take a look at, say, this room right here. I'll just zoom in. Over here. Okay. This is the living room. So let me just walk you through what we have here. We have our exterior wall. We have our windows. Okay, so let's talk about the window. We have a window frame, glass frame, some sort of like bigger structural kind of thicker window mullion or frame. And we have another frame, glass frame, bigger structure, frame, glass frame. The two light lines to the left and right of the glass in each area is the sill below. So where the frame is on the underside, catching the bottom edge of the glass. And then beneath that, we have the sort of sill on the inside and the sill on the outside. So on the outside, it was like a concrete. On the inside, it was like a wood sill where you could place things on. The door, we have the screen door here, and we have the big wood door here. So this and the swing, showing the swing, all this is shown, specifically the door is shown to be cut because we're cutting through the door just like we're cutting through the wall, just like we're cutting through the frame, the glass, the frame of the window. Okay. Now, all the furniture is drawn in there, and definitely some of the furniture in here is above 4 feet, but that's okay. Like this is a bookshelf over here. I don't want to show that in a cut plan because that's really not necessary. This is just saying, hey, there's a bookshelf here. Here's some cat furniture. That's right, cat furniture. Here's an old chest with some speakers on it, as well as an old TV. Here's an old rocking chair with an ottoman, another chair with an ottoman, two sort of coffee table pieces here and here, and some candles on there. Notice this dash line over here. That is a light fixture that's hung from the ceiling right there. So I'm just showing that dash to say, hey, there's something hanging above here. So that is a really nice floor plan. The line weights are really nice. Couple things to consider. Even though the door is cut like the wall here, I have those line weights a little lighter because these two lines happen really close to each other. So if I use the really thick line weight there, it might bleed together too much. So I reduce that line weight a little bit. So line weights, getting them all perfect, it's really an art form. Okay, so here is the dining room. Same goes for the walls, just like in the living room. This is a chute for the clothes. And I believe there's like a chimney buried in here, but I just included that with the walls. You can see that it's one thickness. Here's a built-in cabinet. Notice this dash line going all the way around. Now, what that is a cove on the ceiling. So I just wanted to show that a little bit. Furniture in the middle. Here's the bedroom. Two doors going in, one to the living room. Bathroom, all the detail in there. This is sort of my office meditation space, desk for computing, some other dressers, some things hanging on the wall. This is a pantry space here. The cat's dishes here, and kitty litter, refrigerator with microwave on top, butcher block, stove, sink, coffee maker over here. So my goal in drawing this floor plan was I wanted to create something beautiful for my wife, and we're both architects. So I drew this as a sort of, this is where we used to live, and I have one for every house that we've lived in. So it's really neat to see the sort of the progression of your life. So I like looking at this because in addition to showing spatial relationships, it also shows, I have to pause 1 second. There we go. It also shows a point in time. So this is a time 7 years ago. Actually, it was more than that. And it kind of, you can see our furniture, how we lived. We didn't have kids at that time. So just kind of how things were. So it was pretty interesting. So main takeaway here, line weights, line weights, line weights. Give your eyes a little squint test. Squint your eyes a little bit. You can really see those dark lines. I know exactly what is cut at 4 feet. And then everything else is sort of lighter from there. All right, let's look a little further here. So here's some more information about line weights. Line weights are visual lightness, darkness, or heaviness of a line within a drawing. Okay, so you can have obviously really light lines up to really dark lines. So why use them? To create depth primarily. Okay, line weights are the primary method in which an architect depicts three-dimensional space onto a two-dimensional drawing. So even though this is 2 dimensions, because I know how to read a architectural floor plan's line weights, this is spatial information to me. I can think of this room, all these little rooms as like cells or volumes of space because I can read these line weights. Like, oh, this is cut like this right here, these walls. So I know that this is a chunk of space, a volume of space. This is all cut around here. I know that that's a volume of space. It adds legibility and clarity. When no line weights are employed, which I'll show some examples on an architectural drawing, the drawing tends to be flat and non-spatial. It's difficult to architecturally or spatially read, right? Because if there's no difference in the line weights, it's kind of difficult to know, all right, what's cut, what's not. It is more difficult to tell where one space begins and where one space ends. All elements in the drawing are given an equal importance. Okay. So if I go back one more, the most important thing to me in this drawing are the walls, showing where they are and the spaces that they define. The furniture is sort of secondary to that. They're on a lighter line weight. And that goes to our third point here. To establish hierarchy, line weights are carefully selected to bring the viewer's attention to particular parts of the drawing that they identify as important. Traditionally, the most important information is rendered in the darkest, heaviest lines, as we just talked about. Okay, and they also show relationships in time and space. So a dashed light line may show where a portion of a house or structure has been removed or where a new addition is going to be constructed. Or like I said before, even the furniture, for example, the lighter furniture and a lighter line weight shows a different time in which me and my wife lived in this house. So here's a couple rules. Your drawings should have a minimum of 3 to 4 line weights. I would say if you do 3, you're doing good. You have a really dark, heavy cut line, and then you have 2 lighter lines from there. So the cut line's the darkest. The further you are from the cut line, the lighter the line. So be consistent. Once you have a system in place and it prints well, stick to it. So if you're like, all right, I'm going to make my darkest line weight X thickness, and then I'm going to do the next line weight this, and the next line weight this, and then you test it out, you make a drawing, and then you print it, and you're like, I'm going to go a little darker maybe, print it again, looks good, stick to those line weights because they're working for you then. So here's an interesting example on the right-hand side. We've got a darker line weight around all the walls, but the walls also have a nice hatch in them, but the hatch is lighter. I think that's a very strong technique. It's nice because it really helps see what are the walls, what's cut and what's not, but it doesn't ignore line weights. So line weights are still on here, and we get a nice gray hatch in there, so I can still see that nice surrounding line weight. 2 great examples here. If you squint your eyes here, you can really see those line weights. You can really understand what's cut, where the spaces are, and how they're arranged. Very helpful. The furniture is all a little lighter. Another beautiful plan. Look how nice and thick that outer wall is. That's gorgeous. And then you can see all the lighter line weights. And this plan actually shows people sleeping, just kind of funny, sitting, all the different furniture and textures on the floor. That's beautiful. Nice line weight on the left. Great line weights on the right. Again, with the hatching here and the lighter line weights for all of the furniture. Like even these cabinets per se are probably for floor to ceiling cabinets, but they're not shown as cut through. They're still shown a little lighter just to say like, hey, this is a piece of furniture that's installed, not a wall that really is defining the space. Let's see here. Okay. Great line weights here. One thing I really like about this is that there's sort of a different hatch on the floor for each unit in this multi-unit apartment, let's say. Like this is a unit here. This is a unit here. And this is a unit here. And then this is the staircase in the middle. And it looks like this is an outdoor area. Outdoor, outdoor, outdoor. Very nice line weights in this. And really like that hatch to sort of differentiate the floor and units. Wow. I mean, this is one of the more beautiful ones I've seen. We have the carpet information. We have the floor sort of wood texture information. We have the tiles here, closets, tables, all with all the ornamentation. Looks like a library around here with sitting area, piano, of course. I mean, that is just a beautiful drawing. And you can clearly tell what is cut, right? You know exactly where the walls are. All that beautiful detailed drawing of, say, the carpet and books and piano, that does not take away from the drawing at all. Those line weights are done really well so that they're still showing that information, but they're not competing with what this drawing is trying to convey and what a good floor plan does, which is what's cut and the spatial relationship. So the volumes of space that this plan sort of makes up. Some nice floor plan drawing here of looks like a kitchen floor. Um, can't quite tell what this is. It might be. Oh, I see. Looks like chair, table, lamp. It's probably like a rug. Nice hatching in the walls there, but really still has that nice floor plan look. Line weights on the cuts. Very nice floor plan here, showing the walls are definitely got a little bit of a darker hatch, but I can still see the outline of those walls, so I can tell that those are cut, and a nice hatch put in there. All the information, sort of the furniture information's a little blocky, and that's okay. It's kind of like a simpler floor plan, not showing all that crazy detail like the carpets we saw before. I think this is gorgeous. I mean, squint your eyes in here, right? Do the test. Stand a foot back and squint, and you can, well, 5 feet back and squint. Don't get a foot close to your monitor, but you can really tell what's cut, what's not, and all that beautiful site information out there is just got a really nice light line weight. Some of the line work out there might actually be gray. It might not even be black, just so we can really tone that back and really let the building shine. Perfect line weights. Okay, I want to talk about this one. We do this over and over. Here's a bad example. Okay. Now, I know this is showing the spatial relationships and the walls are pochade black. So you can kind of tell what's a space and what's not. But here's what I do not like about this plan, it shows absolutely no line weights, right? Since all the walls are colored in black, it's as if the architect is telling me I don't know how to draw a proper floor plan. I don't know what line weights means, and I'm not even going to embark on that adventure. Okay, so I have no problem with like sort of coloring in the walls and adding that nice hatch in there, but you have to show that you know the line weights. Okay, so let me go back one drawing. Look at those beautiful line weights. You can really clearly see them. You go here, and there's just an absence of line weights. Now, let me go back to here. This one still has line weights, but it also has the hatching in there, but it's not black. Okay. So it's not going to get absorbed by the line weight. And then I can't tell if you know what's cut and what's not. I think you understand what I mean. Here again, clearly you can see that that's a cut line weight. And then that's a nice, like, grayish hatch in there. So this bad, this bad. Okay. So now, of course, it's perfectly okay to do sketches and things and sort of figure things out as you move forward, but a nice finished floor plan should have line weights. Okay, so I just want to talk about some typical drawing conventions. So, like, how do you handle doors? Okay, so here's a couple examples. So right now we have, say, like an 8-inch wall here, 8-inch wall here. Now I don't have a black line over here because I'm suggesting that this wall sort of keeps going and this wall sort of keeps going. So what I like to do is I'll put a line there, hatch the two shapes, then I'll delete that line to really get this like continuation idea. So dark line weight around it, dark line weight around the frame of the door where the door shuts against, dark line weight around the frame of the door where it's hinged, and then the actual thickness of the door with a perfect half quarter circle. Okay. So the easiest way to draw this, let's say you already have the opening in the wall ready to go, is draw a polyline with 4 sides for each frame. Build those first. 2 inches, 5 inches, 2 inches, 5 inches, 2 inches, 5 inches, 2 inches, 5 inches. So 2 rectangles, place them centered on that wall. Now you can either draw the thickness of the door, the length of the door, so you can measure from this corner to this corner, typically 3 feet, and make your door 3 feet long by about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Anywhere in there is fine. So this is just be another rectangle, just like how you drew the frame. And then if you draw a circle with the center point starting at the midpoint of the frame right here, going to the end point of the wall, that should line up perfectly with this frame. Then you just sort of have to trim out that circle to get the quarter of the circle, not the whole circle. We'll talk a little more about that later, but this is a perfectly fine way to draw a door. This is another fine way to draw a door. So same door, just not dash. So I have a dash one here. I have just like a straight continuous line there showing the swing. Okay. Here's double doors together. So notice there's no frame in the middle. It's just 2 doors that open. Or you can have 2 doors that open in a different direction, something like that. Just depends on the situation. So I would sort of burn these 2 ideas here into your head. These are perfectly legit, reasonable ways to draw a door. Okay, let's talk about windows. I'm just going to see if I zoom in a little there, and I can see those line weights a little better. So let's talk about this window here. So we have a wall and a wall with an opening. Okay. Now in this opening, we have a nice window frame here, big thick window frame here. Thick window frame here pokes out outside and inside a little bit. Smaller window frame here. And the glass in between. We have the sill beneath holding the bottom edge of the glass. And then the sort of casing or sill of the whole window out here. Oh, got a meeting started here. We'll just get through this. That's okay. I'll close that. So same thing here. We have a frame, and a bigger window frame in the middle. But you can clearly see what's cut, the glass, the frame, the glass, the frame, and then all the other information around. Let me just message her. I will join in 1 minute. Okay, and I just wanted to show this other example here. Just another totally reasonable example. Here's the wall. Here's a very simple frame, usually a 2-inch by 5-inch, much like a door frame. Glass, 2-inch by 5-inch. So what's cut here is the wall, the frame, the glass, the frame, and the wall. Everything else, this line and this line, they all happen below at the bottom of the window. That's why they're drawn lighter. Same thing for all of these. These are just some fun window examples that I just sort of made up as I went along here. But I just wanted to show you like same rules apply, right? The wall's cut, frame's cut, glass is cut, frame is cut, glass, frame, wall. Everything else is happening below at the bottom of the window, not the wall, the window. Zoom out a little there. Okay, next page are some typical conventions for drawing stairs. Okay, so let's take this. What's the best way? Let's start at the bottom. Okay, so what we have here is the stairs going up to a landing and then up again. And this would be, say, second level, first level down here. So the arrow is saying, hey, this is the direction of up. So I have my first tread, second tread, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, so on to the landing. And then the treads continue, right? I'm looking down on the stair, remember. What you're seeing here is the handrail on this side and the handrail on this side. And then you're seeing the stair sort of go under the handrail and poke through on the other end. Okay. So the handrail is typically 1.5 inches from the edge of the stair, and the handrail itself is typically 1.5 inches wide. And so it's whatever width the stair wants to be, you bring in that line 1.5 inches to start making your handrail. Okay, let's go to the next drawing up. Now, what this drawing is telling me is that I'm on, say, the first floor, and I'm looking at the first floor plan. So I can see these stairs, but then at some point the stairs get cut and then everything else is above the cut line, right? Because we're cutting through at 4 feet. So not all stairs are within 4 feet, they go higher than that. So that's what's happening there. This right here is called a break line. So it's just saying, yeah, we're cut somewhere around here, and the stairs sort of continue beyond that, and it's dash lines. Now, we don't necessarily have to worry exactly where does the 4 feet occur. We can just put this cut line here. We can put this, break line here. We can put it a little lower. It's fine. It's understood that, yeah, these stairs go up and then here's the rest of them. So what I've done from here up is sort of extract out some of the information so that maybe we don't want to include all these dash lines because that's starting to look a little messy. So we could just say, here's the, this is a perfectly reasonable way to draw it without the handrails dashed in there or anything, unless those are super important. And in this case, it's just saying, yeah, the treads go up to here, there's a landing, and then there's more stairs. And it's kind of understood that, well, if there's a line here and a line here, this is most likely a landing and then stairs occur. So all of these are perfectly reasonable. These top three are perfectly reasonable ways to draw a stair in plan on the, say, first floor. Now, if I was on the second floor looking down and I see the whole stair, this is a good way to draw that. But you wouldn't want to draw it like this, say, from the first floor to the second floor. You definitely want to show that break line in there and show where it gets cut. Okay, so what I've done on these last couple pages is just show you some typical drawing conventions, stairs, different ways to draw windows and doors. You could, of course, Google this stuff and just, Google doors, Google doors in floor plan, windows in floor plan, and look at all kinds of different ways to show it. What I am looking for, though, is the best way to show the line weight so I clearly can look at a window and know what's cut, what's not, look at a door and know what's cut, what's not, and shows me that you understand spatially what line weights mean. So this is sort of our introduction into floor plans. So I want you to just sort of look through this document. I'll attach it with this lecture. Really start skip over that one. That's another really cool one. This is cool because the hat shows the exterior patios. So it's kind of neat to be able to see those in relation to the interior. Yeah, look through these floor plans. If you have any questions for me on some of the rules, please chat me up. And really, line weights is what I'm after. So we're gonna draw a floor plan together, and then you're gonna do one on your own. So that's what I got for you today. Hopefully, it wasn't too much information, and more to come. Okay, so we'll have a assignment by the end of the week. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.